Welcome to another episode of Resilience Rising with Naturally Cinnamon.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Resilience Rising with Naturally Cinnamon. And today is another Hey Gawjuss feature. I'm so excited. I just absolutely love giving a shout out to these women that I have been able to come in contact with and bring them to you all, my listeners, my watchers, my followers, because they're absolutely doing wonderful things. They know what it means to be resilient because they live it in their lives. Now, as you know, I'm Naturally Cinnamon, founder and CEO of Jamila Wellness, LLC, where women go to live well and beautifully. And tonight, I'm on the phone with my good friend, Miss Crystal Pearson. She is the founder and CEO of Feed Some Folk Project, LLC. Now, she is a proud native of Miami, Florida. Community involvement has always been a major part of her life. Being an active member and leader in youth ministry has granted her many opportunities to grow as a leader and be a positive role model. As the founder of Feed Some Folk, LLC, she has committed to being a creative resource for other local organizations in their efforts to give back and be a positive influence in their own communities. Now, in the great words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., everybody can be great because anybody can serve, and she lives by this. Essentially, she just wants to feed some folk. It is her mission to do this with the same love and compassion she's received from coaches and ministry leaders throughout her childhood and adolescence and young adulthood. And I bring to your front Miss Crystal Pearson. Hey, Crystal.
Hey, Gawjuss.
That's what's up. Now, let me ask you, in your own words, can you give us a synopsis of Feed Some Folk Project?
Definitely. Well, the Feed Some Folk Project is exactly what the title is. It's a project, it's an initiative to feed some folk, not just food, but I always stress to people, I want to help us all feed our own communities with not just food, but with love and compassion as well. The same love and compassion that we are granted by the Lord Almighty every single day.
I love that.
So that's generally what Feed Some Folk Project is all about.
So tell me, and I know you probably get asked this question a lot because the name of your organization and what you just said is to feed folk, not just by food, but also to feed their spirit and to feed them with love and compassion. How did you, what are some things that occurred in your life that led up to you creating the Feed Some Folk Project organization?
Well, to start out, growing up, as you mentioned in your wonderful introduction of me, I was very, very active growing up as an early preteen, teenager, even into my young adulthood. I've always been very active, whether it's been in the community, at church, in school. My mom always allowed me to be involved. I have been blessed enough to been connected with some wonderful, wonderful people that have mentored, they have poured into me, they have shared their life experiences, shared their knowledge, nurtured me, coached me, taught me, all these wonderful things that help mold me into the woman that I am and the woman that I'm always continually growing into being. I've always been exposed to very positive mentors that exposed me to being radical within my community, as I stated before. It's been plenty of times where, I just been bored. I guess that's the most real and honest way to put it. Plenty of times where I'm bored, but I can always either call someone, either a mentor from church or a mentor from school, and they were able to direct me in ways that kept me active and kept me out of trouble for the most part. So that's kind of where the foundation of my history starts. And coming into adulthood, I can actually start as a teenager. I was very active at the Bethel Church in Richmond Heights. Shout out to Bishop or Apostle Carlos Malone. Under that leadership, I had a wonderful, wonderful youth pastor, Pastor Cassandra Shepherd, along with a few other people that were great leaders, such as Fatima, my godfather, Sean Golat, Pastor Julian Ray, for a short term was youth pastor, also Minister Gary Butler. These are all people that were volunteers. Keisha Bell, they all volunteered and worked very closely with the youth ministry. We were always busy, always active, always doing stuff, not just within our church, but their thing was to make sure that the teams in the ministry were also active outside of the walls of the church. And we were able to have fun, but clean fun. So going into adulthood, I transitioned to another church, to Second Baptist Church in Richmond Heights. Shout out to Pastor Jackson. And as a young adult, I started working and pouring back into the youth ministry there. And as I got older, I realized that I needed some more pouring into. And not to be negative towards Second Baptist, but at the time, we did not have a young adult ministry that was consistent, and it was a little difficult for me. Between transitions and leadership, it's kind of, in most churches, you find that it's hard to find a place for the young adults in our age group. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, we kind of got to get in where we fit in. And one particular Saturday, I got up and I had absolutely nothing to do. So I figured that I would put my organizing skills and my creative skills and my heart to give to work. Called up a few friends, and we went grocery shopping with $50. And that's kind of how it got started.
So you went grocery shopping, and you just you blessed somebody with some groceries, or what did y'all do?
Well, I had them meet me at the grocery store. I told them, I was like, listen, I want to go feed some people who might be in need today. They met me at the grocery store. With the $50 that I had in my pocket, I was able to buy just a basic lunch, sandwich, stuff to make a sandwich, bread, cheese, and lunch meat, some juices, and some waters. We packaged those up into some Ziploc bags, and we went into a few different areas where we know that we've seen, some people who weren't as fortunate as we are, and we just gave them out. We rode around and we asked people, hey, we got a small lunch. Are you hungry? Would you like something to eat today? And we were able to just distribute them and let them know, hey, it's not for sale. We love y'all. Have a good day. That's it.
Nice. So you went in, you fed some folk, and that's the start of feeding some folk. Now, what made you take that one Saturday and decide to make this an organization and to grow it to what it is today?
Well, I guess at the end of that day, my heart was very full. I felt like I'd completed a task that God had given me. At the same time, I realized that it was something that I couldn't do by myself. Yeah, it's easy to, spearhead when you have the idea or God gives you the vision, but a lot of times when you are doing things such as, giving back to the community, you do need a team. And my wheels started turning, and I said, you know, this is something that I want to be able to have this feeling all the time. I want to be able to, like, not brag about doing something good, but just at the end of the day when I come home, as much work that goes into it, I want to be able to say I accomplished something, and I'm going to keep accomplishing these tasks as long as God keeps giving them to me. It turned into it led into me turning it into an organization, because the simplest way to put it is I enjoy doing it. And I'm like, if this is something that I'm going to keep doing, I need to have my I's dotted and my T's crossed. I want to be able to involve other people, and not just people who are of my religious beliefs, because I always tell people, you know, the fundamentals of this organization are based on Christian values and Christian principles, but it is not just for people who believe in God. If you just believe in loving and giving back to people, that's who this organization is for. It's not just for you.
Wonderful. I'm glad you said that, because I was going to go back just a little bit. And, you know, a lot of your upbringing, you referenced church and being active and part of a whole, part of a group. And then you got to a certain stage in life when you felt like you still needed that and you weren't getting it. But what I did hear you say is you didn't stop, and that didn't stop you from being like, oh, well, I'm not getting something that I feel like I need, so I'm just going to stop. No, you found a way to then become for other people what you were looking for yourself. So that in itself is an illustration of resilience. Those are the types of things that when I work with my clients, I try to help them recognize. And if they can't recognize it, we try to create that, and that is a springboard, something to go back to the foundation, go back to the basics, and spring from there. And so when you basically just answered what my next question was going to be when you said that it's founded on the Christian principles that you had already learned, although it's not necessarily created just for those that believe in God. It's created for those that believe in love and giving. So thank you for that. You already answered the question I was going to ask, or something I was going to address, but you kind of already did that. One thing I do want to ask you is not just the organization itself, but because one thing about us women entrepreneurs, when we try to go out and do something different, and I'll just say sometimes when we're so active in the church, when we decide to go and do something outside of church, we tend to get, I guess, sideways glances, if you will, or even some question marks from people who, I guess, assumed that everything we did was going to be within the walls of the church or under the organization of the church. So we've decided to take it outside, take it to the streets, if you will. How did you deal with, how do you, I guess, explain in a nutshell what the fact that Feast of Hope is still a ministry in a way. It is still a ministry to those that think that ministry should be within the walls of the church. How do you, I guess, explain that, or how do you have conversations with people about that?
You know, honestly, after doing the project the first time, because it wasn't planned, after that first day, and I start feeling like God was telling me, yeah, you did a good job, but you're not done, I had to really go back to him and say, God, is this supposed to be like a ministry? Or like, what do you want me to do? And I feel like he shows me just a little bit at a time, probably because he knows if he give me too much at a time, I'm going to feel overwhelmed and just like put it to the side, but that's besides the point. After that first project, And, I started talking to God about it, and I'm like, all right, Lord, like, this felt too good. I know you don't want me to just stop here. And he's like, yeah, nope, I want you to keep going. And I'm like, well, is this supposed to be, like, something that I'm doing with the church? And I felt like God showed me that even though it is a ministry, it is not to be in a ministry or under a ministry. Obviously, I do believe in order, but I feel like this project was not meant to be something that had restrictions and under the four walls of the church. And also, because this is a people organization, I knew that this was something that if it was under a ministry or an auxiliary, under a church, that I wouldn't get the type of help that I normally get from people who don't go to church or who are not attached to church or the Christian belief at all. I can gladly say that I have not experienced any negative, like, sideways looks, like, oh, well, why don't you put it under the church? Like, I've never had to experience that. I can honestly say that I have, from the very beginning, gotten the most support. And ironically, it's mostly been from people who don't even go to my church, people who don't go to church at all.
That's really cool. I really love that. And one thing I really do love is, without going too much into detail, I'll just say that you are a millennial. So what I do love is being able to prove people who assume that millennials don't go to church, being able to prove them wrong, to say, no. Millennials do still have a desire to have a relationship with God, the universe, a higher being, whatever title or name they want to give it, because the desire is still there. It's just not necessarily the desire to be traditional about it, about the rules and regulations, so to speak. Like you said, things have to be done in the church. And so the fact that you have not experienced any negativity with the fact that it's not a formal ministry, and you can't see me, but I'm using air quotes, a formal ministry in the church is a big leap from the way church used to be handled. You know what I mean? It's so that's very refreshing to hear you say that you have not experienced that. That's absolutely a wonderful thing. Like, I remember, and I'm not going to date myself too much, but I remember when Kirk Franklin's Stomp, when God's Property came out, and step teams started coming up in churches all over the place. So, like, I remember that, and I remember the faces.
Yeah.
I remember.
Not just step teams, the choirs too.
Oh, my God, I remember that. And I'm like, do you know that? And I can speak for the youth ministry that I grew up in. The youth, we were one of the first step teams in South Miami-Dade County. And the looks we got, do you know, each and every one of us who are in that youth ministry is still in church today. Some are preachers, some are ministers, some are youth pastors, some are pastors. You know, we have a strong foundation. And, yeah, that came through God's Property. Kirk Franklin, Stomp, holla if you hear me. That came through that, because what it does is it gives us activity out of the norm and the ability to be creative in church under an organization. But it gives us the ability to be creative so that when we become adults, when we do become millennials, and we do come of age, we can create organizations like Feed Some Folk Project, because we were allowed to be creative.
Right.
So that's a shout out to those who may be listening who might just be having a difficult time letting millennials or youth for that matter, kind of give them some rope in church. give them some rope. It develops their creativity, and you may get another Crystal Pearson sitting right up under your youth ministry, and you don't know it.
Hey.
I'm just saying, you know. So let me say, Feed Some Folk, as she did say, as I did read in her bio, doesn't just organize give back efforts into the community among their own organization, but they do partner with other organizations, other churches, other ministries, and she's got something coming up that I think is huge. I think it's really big, and I'll let her talk about that more towards the end so she can tell you how to be a part of that multi-organization effort. But I think that's amazing. But, Crystal, I just wanted to ask you, I'm going to quiz you now. No, I'm not going to quiz you. But I'm going to ask you before I get into what you think it means to be Gawjuss, I want to ask you, what are your passions? Like, outside of Feed Some Folk, what are your passions and what makes you tick?
I would have to say the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to my passion is music. Like, that has always been my first two loves were music. Well, my first one was my mama, but music. Just like most kids in the church, most kids everywhere, you know, music first for me was in the church, and it's always been, I feel like music has always been my intimate communication with God. Since I was young and before I even know what being saved or having a relationship with God was, one of my biggest passions is music. Growing up, I've developed into a pretty okay vocalist. I like to sing backgrounds and stuff. I've had my experiences with writing, with performing, with being a showcase, you know, artist somewhat, which was a tool that I used to connect with teenagers. Which leads me to my next passion, which is working with youth and young adults. That's also another big passion of mine, working with teenagers. I already know where it comes from. As I said, like in the beginning, like I've had wonderful mentors, people that were great, awesome role models for me to look up to. And I'm able to pour that back. Like I feel like I have so much that I can pour back into other teenagers that are coming up behind me. So those are some of my passions: music, working with children, and I love to eat. That's my feed some Crystal. How about that?
Girl, don't get me started. I love to eat, but I hate to cook. So, you know, there's that.
Hello.
So Gawjuss, for those of you who are listening and don't know yet, excuse me, Gawjuss stands for being godly, active, wise, just, uplifting, sincere, and soulful. So I will ask you, Crystal, what do you think it means, or what does it mean to you to be godly?
Woo! I feel like it's an SAT question. To be godly, the first thing that comes to mind is being God-like, godly, God-like. Those words, those tie into each other to me. I guess it means, how do I say this without sounding too saved, but not sounding like I rehearsed it? It means to be God-like. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, being, like exuding the same qualities that God did, like being compassionate with people, loving on people the same way he loves on us, showing mercy the same way he shows us mercy, being an example of what it means to be like Christ. That's what godly means to me.
Okay. You get an A+ for your SAT answer. And what does it mean to you to be active?
Active. Always moving. Whether you're keeping your mind active, your body active, keeping your spirit active, to me it means always moving. Moving your body to stay healthy, which is what I'm working on. Don't judge me. Actively,
don't even.
Your mind, whether it's reading, learning, exploring, researching, active. That's what it means to me to be active.
Okay. And what does it mean to you to be wise?
To be wise means, to me, being wise means knowing things, but not always having to let others know you know things. Having the wisdom to say and speak and show with discretion, with good discernment, knowing when and where and how to, I guess, express. To me, that's what it means to be wise.
Okay. Now, a similar yet different word. What does it mean to you to be just?
When I hear just, I think of things being exact. Like, these are some good questions. They're really making me think.
Thank you.
Or vocabulary words.
Well, let's say this. I need to know what it means to you. You don't have to give me the Merriam, dictionary, Webster. You don't have to do that because, people can Google that.
Yeah, I'm trying to. The first thing that comes to my mind, like when I hear the word just, I'm thinking of exactly, because most of the time when we use the word just, we're saying, well, I just want you to do this, or I just want this amount, and they're being specific about, like, it's almost like an amount. I don't know. It's hard to explain the word just and what it means to me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to go with my final answer is, like, being exactly, it is what it is. Like,
okay.
And that's my final answer. Okay, next question.
And that's your final answer. All right, okay. And what does it mean to you to be uplifting?
To me, being uplifting means being able to, uplifting is, man, I wish I would have had a dictionary open right now. It might help me. Uplifting to me is being able to help somebody else see the positive or the potential in what they have going on, and like verbally expressing to them and showing them, like being affirming them and validating people. Like, to me, that's what being uplifting is.
Okay. And what does it mean to you to be sincere?
Sincere. I got Jesus for life.
I was just about to say, not the music group. For those listening, shameless plug, hashtag not endorsed. No endorsement here. Hashtag not sponsored. We both are fans of this musical group called Sincere. Check them out, S-E-N-S-E-R-E. That is how they are spelled. S-E-N-S-E-R-E. And we're both fans. So when I said that, I was like, she's going to sing something from this. So, hashtag not sponsored, but go check out the music group Sincere. Okay, we're done.
Yes, we love Sincere. Okay, to me, Sincere means with like doing things with a positive intent, doing things from your heart.
And last but not least, what does it mean to you to be soulful?
To be soulful. You know, to me, soulful means being one's authentic self from the inside, not necessarily the person that you may have grown into or how life experiences have molded you, but just being able to dig deep inside and being able to exude what and who you are deep down from the inside of your soul.
Ooh, I love that. Ooh, I love that. And you said it like Don Cornelius, too. Love, peace, and soul. Crystal Pearson, thank you so much for sharing your story with our listeners. And I want to open the floor to you to tell everybody how they can find you, how they can find Feed Some Folk Project and, you know, website, social medias, everything. And also, if you have anything coming up that you want to announce, I give you the floor.
Awesome. Yes, I am on all social media platforms. Instagram is FSF Project. Twitter is FSF Project. Facebook is Feed Some Folk Project. You can just spell that all the way out. And the website is also fsfproject.org. Those are all my social medias. Now, as far as what I have coming up, like to hear, here it goes. So I'm so excited. I have a few things coming up. One of the bigger projects that I have coming up, unfortunately, I cannot just yet disclose all the details. Actually, yes, I can. I just remembered. Yes, I can. Let me start. Where do I start? What I currently have, I'm going to start with the biggest thing I have going on right now. The biggest thing I have going on right now is my One Fundraiser, 6 Projects campaign, hashtag One Fundraiser, 6 Projects. Pretty much what that is I am doing one big fundraiser where I am begging people to donate. Normally, for each project that I do, I reach out and do a separate fundraiser. But for 2018, my goal is to reach $2,500, which is not a lot of money. I've been able to figure out that with $2,500, I will be able to successfully execute between 6 to 7 projects in the year. This will allow me to spend more time planning quality events versus spending most of the time fundraising. And for ways to give, you can easily give on the Cash App and my Cash App name is also FSF Projects, FSF Projects. But if you want to find out more ways to donate, you can just go to the website that I listed before, fsfproject.org. That's the biggest thing I have going on right now, that campaign. So far, I've been able to partner with New Life Chapel in Gawjuss, Florida. We did a small lunch care package project in January. For February, what I had or have, as we're recording this, we're still in February, but what I have going on right now, and by the time this airs, you'll be able to see that I am giving away 4 tickets to see the Black Panther movie to students. And for March, I'm working with another organization, to do some purses and some toiletries to give to a women's shelter. But the big project that I have coming up, it is the, Us for Them Alliance, which is a collection of 7 different organizations, all ran by African-American women that I know personally. One of them, which is
Jamila Wellness, LLC. Thank you very much.
Yes, Jamila Wellness is one of our partners, and I definitely want to take the time to give a shout-out also to Brittany Bell with the Life and Teal. I want to give a shout-out to Crystal Shepherd and the Jewels Mentors, who also run the I'm a Jewel program. Shout-out to Miss Washington, her first name is Mildred Washington, who oversees the My Sister's Keeper organization. Also to Shay Harris with the Helping Hands and the Daughters of Divine Destiny organization. Shonda Roberts, who also has the Pain to Purpose organization, and I hope I didn't forget anybody. But all of these organizations have teamed together to do one big raffle fundraiser, which will benefit Courtney Wright, formerly Courtney Jordan, with her organization that is geared towards helping young teenage ladies develop spiritually and develop, mentally, develop them financially. She has a one-day event, and we all have gathered together to raise funds to help her offset the cost, because we all believe in giving back, as I stated, to the ladies that are coming up behind us. So look forward to that. We're going to be selling tickets. We have some awesome prizes, and the tickets are only $5. These prizes are worth $25 up to $100. Listen, keep an eye out for that. It'll be on my website. Cinnamon will be posting it on social media. All the girls, you're probably going to see it everywhere. But that's the biggest project that we have coming up right now. So I know I'm saying a lot, and it's because my goal was to I wanted to do a lot more this year with Feed Some Folk Project. And as Cinnamon stated earlier, it is a collective effort. It's a collaborative effort for Feed Some Folk Project to partner with other organizations to benefit their own community. So you'll probably see me all over the place. If you see Cinnamon, you probably see me too. Just know that.
And let me say to those listening, although we are based in Miami, Florida, her organization has partnered with other organizations in other cities across the state of Florida as well. So Don't think that just because you're not in South Florida that you can't log on to ssfproject.org and come in contact with Crystal. She can still reach out to her. She can still assist your organization. I just want to plug that.
Yes.
So, and this is what it's all about. This is what, the name of this podcast is Resilience Rising, where we do want to raise resilience in ourselves and in others. And how can we do that if we don't reach out to people? So I thank you very, very much, Crystal, for being on with me for this episode of Hey Gawjuss. And I just want to say kudos to you and all that you are doing.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for having me. I've never been interviewed before. This was fun, guys.
Well, I was your first. You can always say I was your first.
Yeah. Well, I have to, before I go out, I have to say I'm very proud of you. I'm excited for this podcast. I have been a faithful listener, and I look forward to listening to other ladies just like me and you that's doing it out here.
Yes, ladies. So with that being said, I do want to close out by saying if you have anybody, any young lady in your life that is doing wonderful things and she is just gorgeous, she is godly, she is active, she is wise, just, uplifting, she is sincere, and she is soulful, please contact me and let me know who she is so we can get her on this podcast and give her a shout-out as well. You can reach me at naturallycinnamon.com, or you can email me directly at cinnamon@jamilawellness.org. All right? Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Resilience Rising with Naturally Cinnamon. Life has a way of tossing unexpected trials and circumstances our way. We can't stop them, but we can better handle them by raising our resilience. Creative Director Jeremy Key for J Key Collective. Music by AJ Miles.